Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Welcome to the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 72, coming to you from the reasonably dry Rio Rancho, New Mexico. That's what we want to go with?
Yeah, that was the big change I had.
All right. We're recording on Sunday, July 14th, and I am your host, Elric. With me tonight is...
Bill and...
Chad.
Yay, we have Midwest Chad.
Yeah, Midwest Chad.
Midwest Chad coming from the East Coast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to figure that out.
Who truly believes we're a couple miles south of Cleveland. So, Chad, you're the new guy. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us something about you?
Okay. Again, I'm Chad. I am from Pittsburgh.
Is that north of here?
No, that's more northeast. About 20, 30 miles or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Just a little
close.
bit.
Down the road a ways?
Down the road a ways, as the crow flies.
Down the street from Denver.
It's a Midwest state. We like it. No,
Pittsburgh is a state?
It's a state of mind.
Wow. All right.
No, just relocated down here about 3 years ago.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah, it's been 3 years that I've been in your life.
Wow. This hellish sort of nightmare seems so much longer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I pray that we never wake up. It's a dream that just keeps on trucking.
I really got to do something to clean up my karma if you've been in my life for 3 years.
Apparently that whole Nazi thing just didn't work out for you the first time. Keep going, buddy.
I thought it was made out of magic marker. Yeah. So what do you like to do in your time off, Chad?
Get ready for work the next day.
Oh, that's so hot. Tell me more.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. My time off is family time and getting ready for work.
Okay, cool. So we're here to talk about gaming.
Gaming, never heard of it.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Sweet. I can't wait for you to interject your nuggets of wisdom.
Age of Sigmar wisdom?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was War Machines thing.
Yeah, with a sprinkling of Malifaux.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we focus on ninth age. So, just so all you fine listeners know, Chad is lying because my entire Beast Claw army was painted by Chad. So he has a passing familiarity with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually do. I'm a Games Workshop fanboy. Not as much as some of the others in this room, but I've been doing it since Rogue Trader days, so there you have it.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, you're in. All right, good.
Sweet.
So now that we all know Chad, also in the intro, I kind of wanted to throw out some apologies to, I did not realize I was stepping on AOS Dan's toes when I released the
AOS Short.
Short Dan. Yeah, AOS Dan. Yeah, so I'll apologize to him twice. To AOS Shorts, but I released the combined fact document, all the facts for Age of Sigmar, compiled into one PDF with a table of contents and click buttons and searchable and all that stuff. And it's up there on our Facebook page if you want to grab it, the link to it. And I guess he normally does those things, but I didn't know that. And when I released it, he got a rash in his shit because he hadn't done it yet because he had a busy work week. So now I feel bad, but, only a little. So,
Well, It's all right, because Dan's not a real person. He's a computer simulation by the government.
That's kind of what I thought. He's from New Zealand, so
Well,
he can't
Australia
be
doesn't
real.
exist.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to say, oh, New Zealand's not part of Australia. Whatever. You're like the Hawaii of Australia.
Yeah,
exactly. Just a little
Just
thing
an
hanging off
offshoot.
Yeah. Just kidding.
There goes those two listeners.
Yep.
So, okay. So, another thing that I want to throw out there and say good job to Games Workshop for those that don't know, the second book in the Horus Heresy wrap-up series, The Lost in the Dam, came out this Saturday. And this time, the order process and delivery process was quite a bit better than last time. So they have definitely fixed that issue, and yay for not putting us through that again. Also want to throw the one last shout-out out to Summertime Slaughter out at Gamers Haven in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, which also happens to contain Pittsburgh.
Yes, it does.
So, yeah. So if you're anywhere around Phoenixville, I know the 40K is sold out, and I was talking to Sean emailed me earlier, and they may have a couple of slots for the AOS. So it's July 27th and July 28th. So we're in the home stretch. Reach out to those guys if you want to get on the waiting list or see if they have a ticket for you. So it's coming up, and it should be a good time because they're putting a lot of effort into it. Looks like they got a really cool lineup of stuff. So, yeehaw. So, anyway, that's the end of the intro. Should we kick off into the new stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Kind of what we do now.
That's the general progression of the show there, Bill.
Chad, did you want to have anything else in the intro?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I want to be inclusive. And
No, I appreciate
welcoming.
that. It's 21st century. You should be all-inclusive all the time.
I am.
Exactly.
I don't care that you're bald.
I don't either.
I do a little bit.
Well, I mean, being a small woman and bald is weird and uncomfortable, but you're doing well. Thanks, Bill.
You hide it well. I mean, your baldness. All right, this is going off the rails. All right, so new stuff announced this week.
Yeah, there's an absolute crap ton of
Yeah.
stuff for pre-order.
It's crazy good.
The least important and worst possible thing that they could have possibly put up ever, some kind of Sylvaneth stuff. I don't know. We can skip over that. Go straight to Blood Bowl. That's the big important one. No, I'm just kidding. So finally, the
Yes.
Sylvaneth book.
Oh, boy. Thank God.
Yeah. So
Thank God.
they've managed to free it from the Somali pirates and get it shipped over here.
Yay.
And, yeah, everybody will have it in their grubby little tree-loving, stupid Durthu hands in a week or so.
Yes, in about a week. So, and along with that were the cards, the dice, endless spells.
Yeah, and the new trees.
Yeah, and the new Awakened Wildwood.
Yeah, that don't come on a base.
Yeah, very
But
handy.
that was kind of interesting.
It's going to make... It's twice now I've whistled through my teeth. Do I have a gap in my teeth or something?
No.
You're just becoming a young Phyllis Diller.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm scared now because I got that reference. Oh, boy.
I'm just going to smile like I did.
Knowingly? Yeah.
I've heard the name before.
And it just doesn't
Okay.
matter. So, yeah, the Wildwood is 3 separate trees, sort of on, they make sort of an enclosing hug pose when you put them all together.
Yeah,
So,
which is cool.
yeah, I think so. And I'm kind of hoping that that's the woods that have all their effects and not so much the wildwoods, the regular tree stands anymore. But, oh, well,
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, we shall see.
What do you think of the dice?
I think they're gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope the last set of Sylvaneth dice were really, really bad. Those wooden dice.
Just because they were so light?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, they didn't have a right feel for me. I didn't like them. They were like the Nurgle dice that were hollow.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what?
Or the squig dice.
Yeah. Now, squig dice are hot. I mean, they have some heft to them, and man, they roll good. Wow.
What do you think of them, Chad?
I'm not a big fan of themed dice.
Okay.
I didn't like the wooden dice, and I hated the Nurgle dice. I couldn't stand them. They were terrible, but they made great counters for my army. Okay.
Because they stand out.
Really?
So,
Well,
yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't really care. I just prefer very general, basic dice.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're kind of cool. I would not use them mixed in with other dice or anything like that. If you're going to use them, I would just buy a couple packs of those.
Yeah.
But even then, it just seems like they'd be really rough.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like the big orc dice that you use. You have to have all of them. You can't have, well, here's 10, and then here's my other 50.
Yeah.
Right.
It just doesn't look right.
Right. So.
Well, thanks for that, Buzzkill. All right, good.
Wow. So you guys legitimately excited for the Sylvaneth book? I know it's been leaked, so I think the people that are pretty hardcore about it are already been using it. But
I mean, as long as they don't get completely crazy like they did the first time, tone it back a little bit.
No,
I don't see, why it'd be a problem. It's a beautiful army.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And somebody's going to find a loophole no matter what you make.
Yep.
Yeah. I think this book is more of just tightening them up and bringing them in line with the new stuff, because they already had like all their artifacts and unique spell lore and all that stuff beforehand. So this is really just to give them their own endless spells, kind of updating
I think
the 2.0.
They're getting new spell lore too. They're getting changed to be more in line with everybody else.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, and then adding in the Arc Revenant, or what is that?
Yeah, the Arc Revenant. That
or
thing.
is that the Flesh Eater Court?
No, it's his. That's the Arc Regent.
Okay.
I think that was the Arc Revenant. It's the one that came with Loon Curse.
Yeah.
So,
now,
beautiful
can you?
model. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. But I think the rules were a little lacking on it, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Now, can you get that model separately, or
not yet?
And is Loon Curse available anymore, or no?
Not exactly.
Does it say temporarily out of stock? Because Shadow Spear just came back online.
No, it's completely.
Is it?
It was a one-shot good deal, I think.
All right. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm sure they're. It's like the other characters. They're going to make them available. I'm sure it's just
like a Lord Relictor.
Yeah, just like that.
Totally be available.
Mm-hmm. Sure, soon. Real soon now.
It's only been 4 years. That's cool.
When the next Stormcast book comes out, he'll be there.
Yeah.
So, he'll be the one carrying it.
No, I'm excited to see the book and what they do with them.
Me too. It's one of those armies. It was very, very prevalent at the beginning of Age of Sigmar and has really gone off the cliff, kind of like Tzeentch. And to see it come back and be a thing. Although later on when we talk about the Northern Invasion results, there's interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
So,
I know I crap on Sylvaneth pretty hard. It's kind of like just a meme or whatever. But
really,
I do love the way that army looks on the table. It is
it's
so beautiful. So, all right, what else we got?
Well, for Blood Bowl, like you said, the Wood Elves are out with all the attendant pitches and cards and magazines and you name it.
I really wish I enjoyed Blood Bowl.
Me too. I bought into it and a lot of the starter stuff. I don't have time.
Yeah, I wanted to want to play that game so bad.
Exactly.
And I just can't get over that it's not football.
Right.
As much as it wants to be football, it's not, and it just doesn't. You know what actually drives me away from Blood Bowl?
What?
The way that whole damn game embraces puns.
Oh.
Everything about that game has to be pun related. And so anytime I read anything about Blood Bowl, I just feel my soul draining away. I think that's maybe what the biggest thing about Blood Bowl is for me. I can try to say maybe it's the rules or what. No, it's the damn puns.
Puns.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, they did get, because they got their own pitch. They got their own wooden dice, which all look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, tons of stuff for them.
Yeah, the full-blown, whenever they release something for Blood Bowl, it's the full up.
Yeah.
You get everything. You get the board, the pitch, the cards, the magazine that covers them. It's crazy cool.
Yeah. And then the Middle-earth strategy battle game.
Yay.
We got the Scouring of the Shire book and accompanying models. Yep. You not feeling it, Chad?
No, I'm definitely not a Middle-earth person.
No?
At all. Nope.
That's
really?
Unfortunate.
Nope. I've seen it played. It looks like old Ralpartha miniatures. I just don't like them.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm dead set against it.
Wow. Serious?
Right, well, I mean, if you'd like to leave now, that's fine.
No. I've got a few more hours.
Okay,
but I appreciate that. I love the universe. I love the setting, but the actual aesthetics of it, I don't like.
But you like the old world, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love the miniatures. Just they're shoddy. They're tinier. They just don't look good.
You've got to be one of the
them.
first people I've ever seen or ever heard not be a fan of the Perry Brothers.
I don't like any of the miniatures. And if I don't like a miniature, I'm not going to even bother with the game.
The game, okay.
Yeah.
Can you wait while I look through the manual here? I got to find where the mute button is.
Right? Wow.
So that's 2 buzzkills and 3 topics.
I'm so glad we have Chad
Well,
here.
it's either sycophants or naysayers. Which do you want, Bill?
Yeah, well, so on a more positive note, Bill and I will drool over the book.
Yes.
I'm actually pretty excited for it. The Scourge of the Shire is like, or the Scouring of the Shire is kind of like one of the more important parts of that book.
Yeah.
Of the series, and it always gets glossed over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know a lot of people cry about like Tom Bombadil and it got left out of the movies and stuff like that. But the Scouring of the Shire is like a really important part of that whole thing. And it, if I remember right, you know, Tolkien put it in there as a kind of nod to the follow up after World War II. And
the rebuilding of England.
Yeah. So I'm glad that it's getting its own book, and it's got the ruffian models.
Yeah, and the big orc, the Golfumble.
Yeah, and they did Gandalf with Cart and all of that stuff before. Is this okay?
So,
they're just reissuing some of the older original stuff. That's cool.
Yep, it's very cool.
So yeah, I mean, I always love seeing them put stuff out for Middle Earth.
Yep, I love that they're keeping that license going, the franchise going, the whole schlemiel, and they're taking it in really different directions. I mean, everybody would have thought, the next book is going to be like a Rohan book or, you know, maybe a Far Harad book. No, let's go up to the Shire and have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
You know, because you know the scenarios are going to be goofy and fun, and you're going to need a lot of your Hobbit figures and not so many of your Knights of Gondor figures.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting way to look at it. I think that book screams for the battle companies. Okay. You know, because you're not going to, unless you have a bunch of hobbits, probably not going to want to buy into a, beast ton of hobbit archers. And,
Yeah.
So.
Right on.
Yep. Then we have a lot of releases for Adeptus Titanicus.
Yeah.
And seriously, there's, let me see, they have Loyalist and Traitor Legio Stratagem cards. Then they have Loyalist and Traitor Titans of Legends, plus dice sets for both. So the Titans of Legend are just command cards for 5 each major notable Titans from the Horus Heresy era. So that's really cool. And also they're releasing the Acastus Knights Porphyrion and their attendant command terminals as well. So that represents not just some new miniatures that haven't been seen before, but a whole bunch of command cards and command terminals, dice sets, the whole 9 yards. So their support for that isn't flagging either.
Yeah. One thing kind of I will wonder in regards to Adeptus Titanicus is, are they eventually going to run out of Knight chassis to make models for?
No, because the variants that they can do are pretty. I'd say they probably have another. Well, you can do Mars pattern, all the Mars pattern stuff. Then you can go back to the older pattern Titans from pre-heresy. So I mean that they have.
This is more. This is essentially pre-heresy.
This is in heresy,
right?
The Porphyrions, yeah. So, but I mean, there were the old armor cast Titan.
Oh, okay.
You could do something based off of those. So, I think they have a few more releases up there. Okay. And they keep hinting every time that there is a Adeptus Titanicus thing on the stream. They hint about are you ever going to do, Orcs or
Oh,
Eldar? And they're like, well, we would have to change the venue and we would have to change the setting, blah, 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 blah. Then they never say, yeah, no, it's not in the plans. It's always, well, we have to do this and this and this. And then,
I don't see why. If it's obviously very successful. If they're continuing to support it the way they are right now, it's got to be selling. So if it continues to do so, then they would only be hurting themselves by not branching it out to add Xenos or even start adding other units, armored units and stuff, and start incorporating that epic feel.
Yes,
which I think everybody really wanted in the beginning. And I mean, we've kind of been cool with just the Knights because they're just absolutely gorgeous models.
Beautiful,
but at a certain point, you'd think, well, why can't we start doing companies of Baneblades and stuff like that?
But would you move the timeline up? Or would you leave it mid-heresy, beginning heresy? I mean,
I guess you don't lose anything by moving the timeline up, right?
Because I don't think there's ever been a mention of Eldar Titans, Orc Titans, anything like that anywhere.
Well,
until
after post-heresy. And that's
until
what they say in the stream is they'd have to move the time frame because at this point in time they weren't aware of any of those things.
Okay, so you just do what edition of 40K were we in? 8th?
Yeah.
So you just do 7th to 8th for 40K, but Adeptus Titanicus. So second edition of Adeptus Titanicus is, I don't know, 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
Still use the exact same Titans because they're freaking Titans. They don't,
You could do the War of the Beast where they started seeing some of this weird big Xenos stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, version 3.0 is, oh my God, look, the Eldars have Titans too. Copycats. So,
I mean, I don't know. Whatever there's no reason why they should pigeonhole themselves into not being able to put out more and more stuff.
No, and I think they know how to make money.
Oh yeah.
So,
and also you got to keep in mind, like when they're having their meetings and everything, they've probably got boards up on the wall that are like 5 to 10 year projections and stuff of what they want to accomplish, and things like that.
No good business can survive without a 5-year plan.
Exactly. How cool would it be to be? I don't know. I'm always torn. Like, how cool would it be to see that stuff? But then you'd be like, well, damn, I already know the next 10 years are kind of ruined for me.
Yeah, I would never, as much as I would want to be an employee of Games Workshop there at the headquarters and be in on that, I would so not want to be. I mean, first of all, you could never podcast again because
you know too much.
And you're going to say something stupid.
Yeah.
Well, my night is going to blow up your... Oh, shit.
Whoops.
I mean, I don't literally know how they do all those live streams and the podcasts and all that stuff without blowing something.
I think they all have collars on.
Yeah.
And if they say the wrong thing, it just blows up. And they know that in the back of their head, so they always have to watch.
So they're really watching.
Yeah.
But I mean, like if you're Phil Kelly and you've already written the story going forward for the next at least couple of years.
Yeah.
And then to sit there and do all the interviews that he does and never once blow it. Never once go, well, when the next Primarch blah blah actually kills Raboot Guilliman. What?
I think they only have certain people on the stream. They obviously don't let just any GW person up there. And two, some of those cats have been doing it for so long that I think they know kind of how to. And if there is a slip, I think it's pretty intentional.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of stuff.
They've tested the waters a few times with stuff.
So,
this latest Voxcast they had, I can't remember the girl's name exactly, but she's the girl that built all the books. She actually, pulls all the books together. She pulls the art, the photography, the words, and makes a book out of them. It was interesting hearing her process, how they do all that stuff. And she even made mention a couple of times, Wade would ask a question and she'd be like, well, that's about something that we just can't go into right now. And I'm like, oh, she knows.
Yeah.
She's not going to be the one that blows Codex Fishmen. So,
Yeah.
So, I would not want to be I would not want to be there.
That'd be some pressure.
Yeah.
You know, or you're sitting there and you see like your favorite armies coming out, but not for another 8 years.
Oh God!
And it's just like, I know it's coming, but it's going to be forever, be the longest 8 years of your life.
I know.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Oh, that would be hell.
Because it's already a pain in the ass seeing like pre-order for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're like, God, I don't want to have to wait two
weeks.
14 days until I can get it in my grubby hands.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Sisters of Battle player, you've been waiting how many years?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Like 2 more weeks? I'm good with that.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
God, I do have to go get that model.
Oh yeah, you haven't?
I haven't picked one up yet.
Head.
I still gotta go get it.
Silly head.
Make a whole army out of just her.
Yeah, just multiple copies.
Yep. Sounds
Very
good.
nice. Yeah.
All right, and then July White Dwarf.
Yay.
What's in it, Bill? Have you cracked it open?
No.
Sifted through the goodies?
No.
Distilled all the information?
No.
Scried through? No, nothing.
Nothing. Haven't even seen it other than the fact that it's up for pre-order.
Oh, all right.
So,
yeah.
Yep. Hopefully, I kind of like the fact that they moved the publication date 3 weeks so that it's more in line with what's coming, and you don't have to. I think it's a better time frame, but man, I'm just so used to it being the first of the month. Where the hell's my White Dwarf?
Yeah.
So, but you get over these things, or you just die. I don't know. So,
It happens.
It does. It does.
And then
Dun, 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 dun.
2 new start collecting boxes, one of which I am super excited for. And then the other one is just really cool. So the one that's just really cool, I think, is the 1,000 Suns box.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that's got to be wonderful for the people who've been playing 1,000 Suns since second edition or so, buying the old
Pharaohs.
the old plastic metal hybrid kits and trying to put that crap together and hoping it doesn't fall apart.
God, which was chances nil.
And now you got to start collecting box.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh my God, 20 years later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, we've been playing this game for a minute.
Hot minute.
Jesus.
And then there was just a junk box. So shall we move to creation?
And then the start collecting box that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, not because it's Space Wolves. It is Space Wolves, but it's the first Primaris Marine start collecting box.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
Why
did they have to waste it on freaking Space Wolves?
Yeah, but you don't have to use any of those furry bits.
I hope not.
You can just build it however you want.
That's right.
So are all the Space Wolf things, they're all bits? They're not carved into the miniature? You're going to have to sit there?
No, I believe it is an upgrade sprue.
Okay.
I would believe. Because that's the beauty of the Primaris Marines is the upgradable bits are the same size as the old Marines. So the shoulder pads, the heads and stuff, the backpacks, things that you would have. Really, the only difference is the size of the weapons. So you can't use like old power axes and stuff like that. It's going to look a little goofy, but
well, you could. It'd be a power hand axe.
Yeah, I guess a power tomahawk.
Power tomahawk.
Power hatchet. So as an option. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the only one that I'm not 100% sure on is the character model.
Yeah,
is it some kind of like a Wolf Lord thing or what Primaris Wolf?
It's gonna be hard to separate his iconography. I mean.
Maybe. I don't know what kind of kit that's supposed to be because they don't have a Primaris character under the Space Wolf section on the GW site.
I know. So, well, we'll see.
Yeah. But I'm pretty happy for that.
Interesting. I am too. I mean, I was just being facetious. I think it's cool. Space Wolves are, oh man.
I can't wait till they flesh
that. You can do
that line out some more. This might be the first time I'm excited to see a new Space Marine Codex.
Yeah.
Because they need it.
Yeah.
Because they've just released so much stuff after that Codex. It's kind of a pain in the ass to track it all down.
Yeah.
So you re-release it, put it all in there together, update it, and then maybe put out a couple more new Primaris kits.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, but are they going to start making the Primaris kits like Stormcast every few months? Something new.
That's kind of what they've already been doing. That's what I'm saying. Like they kind of need a new book to
tie
up
everything
all these
together.
loose ends. Because there's a lot. I mean, that new tank is
it's on its own.
Yeah,
you know.
I think there's a couple other things that are like that too.
Yeah.
So
there's like 40 different lieutenants. That...
there's that.
Did you see that video? Codex lieutenants, Codex Primaris lieutenants.
No, but there is a Twitter feed that it's an official GW one, but it's the hashtag Primaris lieutenant.
Yeah, the video is Wade Price doing his daily show. It's the Lieutenant Daily Update, and he's sitting there calling him Lieutenant, Lieutenant Daily Update, and I think it's Jess Goodwin or somebody, and he's like, it's Lieutenant. It's Lieutenant. And Wade just keeps moving on. It's actually a really good video. I love the way they poke fun at themselves.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's so much better. It's so much better than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
So, what else? Anything else new? Oh, that little thing called Warcry.
What's that?
I don't know. It's like, I think Kill Team. It's a version of Kill Team for 40K or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so that finally got spoiled completely at
Pre-order
the ATC.
next week.
Yeah.
So, and I've heard a rumor, and I do not know the truth of this, and I'm not going to look it up just now, but I've heard it's on a 2-week pre-order.
Well, I don't know, because the General's Handbook this year was not on a 2-week.
I know.
And that's like the first time that's been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I really don't know. All I know is you can pre-order it Saturday, they said.
There is a ton of stuff coming with it.
Yes, there is.
A starter box, a box for each faction, a terrain box that looks kind of like a repackaging of the Sigmarite Mausoleum.
Yeah.
But with some other stuff.
And it's got like wall sections and
ladders.
Like Azerite ruins.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Then there's what look like card packs for the 8 or 9 factions that
aren't in
Chaos. The other stuff. Yeah. And we finally know what those factions are specifically. So pretty excited for that.
Bingo. Yeah.
And then what else? I think that was pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Was there dice or anything for them? I don't remember seeing dice.
It might be. I don't know.
There was a lot of dice that were shown between Blood Bowl and Adeptus Titanicus.
Yeah. And I think it just uses regular 6s.
Okay.
So there'll probably be, I'm sure there'll be specialized dice coming down the road because why not?
Yeah.
Yay.
Hey, come on. Dice are cool. So.
Well, I know that there's supposed to be some sort of ruler.
Yeah, a special ruler.
Oh, yeah, I saw a picture of that, too.
I don't know what that's for, but...
I think it's different inches. I don't know.
The King's Inch?
Yeah, God, we're not going metric, are we?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, might as well embrace it. And then... oh, geez, I'm trying to think of... I thought there was something else.
For Warcraft?
Oh, and they showed the final warband.
Yeah.
The 6th warband, which is the... Oh, my mind just went blank. But it's like the Corrupted Light realm.
Yeah, I know there's Zinj.
No, they're not. I think they're all undivided bands.
Yeah,
none of them really subscribe to a god, but they come from different realms.
They were Zinj because I know they were. I think you said they're highish.
Well, I know you say they're Chaos Undivided, but when you look at them, some of them have definite trappings.
Yeah.
For certain, like you said, this latest one looks. I don't know, has a lot of Zinchian throwback. So
there's that heavy metal one that looks kind of cornate.
Yeah.
But then there's some that look pretty non-denominational, like the Beast ones.
Yeah, they're out
look
there.
like they're just Conan bros running around,
Yep.
chopping stuff up, which I'm all about. That's cool. But yeah, these guys look fantastic. Oh, and then was it just last week they did the unmasked ones too? The guys that scraped their own face off and then put it on their belt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the ones from Shyish.
Yeah.
Was that the Unmade?
The Unmade.
The Unmade.
Like, oh man, that is like
they're very creepy.
That is some bizarre stuff, man. I don't know how you can't be excited for all 6 of them. Look so cool, and they all look very unique. None of them strike me really, other than the very first one.
Yeah,
the Beast guys kind of looked like a AOSified version of the old world barbarian type, Marauder type.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, man,
they just exist out there on their own. They're
the Crow guys.
Yeah, I
look
love
pretty
those.
amazing.
Man, do I love them.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think the thing I'm most excited about is that even if we don't pick up all the Chaos stuff, we can just play Warcry right away.
With what we have, yeah.
I've got some Gloomspite stuff. I'll have some Deepkin stuff soon, and
Night Haunt. And
all the death stuff is
all
supported.
there. Yep.
And then of course, Stormcast.
What?
Yeah.
No way,
What do you know?
Who knew? Maybe they have a Night Relictor.
So, I mean, obviously, this means we'll have to get some more Stormcast releases.
Sure, I think there should be a new chamber.
Yeah.
The
Warcry
chamber.
Yeah, specifically just for...
They're specifically anti-chaos war bands.
Yeah.
Not armies, just war bands.
Just war bands.
They come in really tiny chambers, like of 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. We are just...
And they'll need a new book to support it. So
Yes.
here we go.
Yes, they will. And terrain and endless spells and... Oh, I'm so kidding. But yeah, it's kind of fun. I'm really looking forward to Warcry. I think if it does for AOS what Kill Team is doing for 40K,
right,
it's going to be... And, it may not bring thousands of new players into the fold, but what it does do is it gives us the ability to run smaller games, have a lot more, you can have a lot of fun playing these very, very small skirmish bands and, get 2 or 3 games in an afternoon as opposed to, one big 2,000-point game.
Right.
So, what the heck? It'll be fun. Now, let me throw this one out at both of you.
Oh.
So, 40K comes out, Kill Team comes out. Oh, my God, it's huge. It's big.
That's what she said.
Not to you, buddy. Not to you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I heard that in the headphones. So, and then next thing you know, you get Armageddon out for 40K. So, is there an Armageddon coming for AOS?
Let's hope so.
I do too.
Let's hope so.
I am super
because we've had rules in the General's Handbook that have kind of tried to streamline bigger games,
yeah,
but not like a full on thing like Apocalypse for 40K.
I honestly think after looking over the Armageddon rules, and we're not talking about a big thick rule book here, it's reasonably simple game.
Yeah,
the mechanic, you could take that game. Seriously, do a search and replace, and wherever you see 40K and pew pew, change it to AOS and thunk thunk chop chop, and you've got the game. It's that simple, and we already have movement trays, so
Okay.
I mean, it's seriously, you could do the same treatment to AOS with a minimum effort, and I think you'd have something on your hands. Because
interesting,
that would be fun.
Interesting.
The battle for the all points. Oh yeah.
But what about for your horde armies?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to paint, Skaven 315 today for my big apocalypse-sized.
Well, or
army.
You can still play, your 80 to 120 clan rats that you were dicking around with before, but now you can start adding the other fun stuff that you had on the side.
Yeah.
Your rat ogres and,
yeah.
I don't know, geez, there's tons of stuff, and it's hard to, Skaven's a bad example because tons of good stuff in that book, but like Gloomspite, you could, instead of taking what is seen as kind of the top tier, which is a handful of goblins and 1,000 points of endless spells, you could actually, maybe use your trogs or your spiders or something in there too.
Yep.
Oh, a massive spider army. That
right.
would be
right.
cool.
Or like 4,000 or 5,000 points of squigs on the table. That would look gorgeous.
Oh my God. Yeah.
God, that would look gorgeous. I was just saying that would be pretty sweet. But
and you could bring back Tomb Kings and Bretonians.
Okay.
I am so sorry.
Yeah. But anyways, the Warcry thing, one thing that gets me kind of happy about it is now we'll get Warcry, which is a handful of models. It looks anywhere from like 4 to 12, depending on whatever faction. And then they just put out Meeting Engagement, which is like 1,000-point games, and we still got regular Age of Sigmar.
Yep.
And then they could do obviously an Apocalypse type thing for Age of Sigmar. And what to me is really cool about that is it allows you to essentially start playing with your army right away.
Yep.
You can start playing some form of Age of Sigmar right out of the gate.
With the start collecting box.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or even just like a box of grunts and a character.
And that's it. Yeah, is the individual box now matters.
Yeah.
So the box of Clan Rats has a purpose.
Because I look here at this box of Chaos Space Marines because I want to play them for 40K.
Yeah.
And my brain kind of thinks is still set in the old way, I guess. And I look at that and I'm like, I'm really excited about it, but I'm going to have to get together at least 2,000 points of Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah.
And that's going to take forever. That's a huge investment, money-wise, time-wise, painting-wise, all that stuff. And that can be kind of a, I don't want to say distraction. It can deter you from wanting to even get started the whole thing. But if I sat here and was like, actually, I could just start playing Kill Team with this and just focus on painting these 10 guys. And then based off my experience with Kill Team, buy another box or two.
Yeah.
And then after that, start playing like 1,000-point games of 40K.
Yep.
And then grow from there. And then next thing you know, a year from now, 18 months from now, I got an Apocalypse-sized Chaos Space Marine force. And I've been playing with it ever since the day I picked up my first box.
That's right.
That's really, to me, important.
That's the growth path that they want to see and establish. And they've got it now for 40K. Yeah. And it works. Every cog in that chain works. Did I say cog in the chain?
Yeah.
How about every link in the chain works? Right. And now they just need to flesh that out. And, we're at step 1 for Age of Sigmar. They're going to do Warcry.
Exactly.
And we're going to go from there. And let's hope that somewhere down the road we see, Apocalypse or Sigmar.
Or whatever. Yeah. Now, or just Age of Sigmar Grand Battles or something like that.
Yeah, Mighty Battles.
Now, here's a question. If that is kind of the design for Warcry, is to mimic in a way what Kill Team did. Kill Team already used established armies.
Yes.
This just brought in 6 whole new factions. Mm-hmm. Does that mean these 6 new factions will flesh out into their own armies at some point?
Oh, boy.
6 whole new Chaos armies on top of the already dozen or so that we have for Chaos?
Or what if they do one Chaos Undivided faction?
And it's all these bands?
And all these bands will fit into that. I don't know. I mean, I'm spitballing here. What if they did like a Chaos Undivided?
Or they just leave it the way it is. And you just buy one little war band. They never really add to it. And that's just what you have for Warcry.
No, I don't think they're going to do that. There's far too much money to be made the other way.
Well, yeah, I guess if they're still putting out new models for Blackstone Fortress to expand that, then I would imagine if these 6 war bands are pretty hot for Warcry, then it'd be interesting to see.
I mean, I'm sure sales will determine, because the box only comes with 2 of these. You're going to have to buy the other ones, and they're going to look at what the sales do. And if the sales justify it, then by God, it goes. It's in the production line.
Well, I tell you what, if this is anything like Underworlds, buy that first box.
Yeah.
Before you can't buy it anymore.
Yep.
And then you're kind of hosed on accessing that stuff, which kind of sucks. But, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think for me, the question is, can you use those guys, those Warcry warbands, in your regular army? How you can do that with Underworlds. Like, here's my Magor's guys. I can now use them in my Khorne army.
You know you're on mute, right? Oh.
Really? That's one, Bill. That's one.
I don't know. I have to believe that I believe they'll have a war scroll for the bands.
It wouldn't take much, would it? I mean, because they already do it for the Underworld stuff, and the majority of that stuff is not great in Age of Sigmar. I think really the only one that's useful is Halog, maybe, if you want to do like an Ultrog.
Well, Thorns of the Briar Queen aren't too bad. They're a nice little filler for death.
And they're dirt cheap.
Yeah, they're really dirt cheap. 140, I think.
Because some of them are super expensive, and
Yeah.
it's for a handful of wounds, and it's like, no, I'll pass. So,
But still, it gives you a way to play again with that thing. I have to believe they'll work it in somehow. Like I said, I'm spitballing, but I have it in the back of my head that they're going to do a Chaos Undivided book.
Mortals, just
and just these are Chaos, but they're not aligned to any one particular thing, andLl bet you these will be folded into that.
You just make it the new Everchosen book.
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly. Yeah,
and it's Archeon's personal army, and then he can ally in whoever he wants.
That's right.
But maybe you write it in such a way that you can't. Because one of the things that's goofy about the way Chaos works now is you can say, I'm running a Tzeentch army, but it's really an all Beastmen army.
Right.
With the mark of Tzeentch using the Tzeentch rules.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, what?
Yeah, you don't have anything
I don't know if I really
Tzeentchian in there, but
yeah, you got a pretty goofy overlap, or you can even do it with Slanesh. Really, because any one of those one drop formations out of the Beastman book, or Beast of Chaos, it just gives them the mark.
Yep,
and you get the best of both worlds essentially, which is weird. So if you maybe limit that to where you actually had to, if you wanted Juggernauts of Khorne, they're actually just your allied points, not.
Right.
I can just take an all Khorne army and then throw Archeon rules on top of them.
Yeah.
And that way you could incentivize people playing their unmarked mortals that follow Archeon, and then maybe have little flavors of the gods here and there.
Have a little twist now and then.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it would. Or maybe that's where they really believe mercenary companies are going to go. Maybe that's a direction they kind of are seeing with that sort of structure.
Let's be careful with that mercenary stuff. I'm a little hesitant on it. We'll see.
Little Dogs of War flashbacks kicking in.
Yeah, really. At least Dogs of War had more restrictions than this stuff does. So,
yeah.
I mean,
this one you lose a command point and get all the cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, at least you couldn't take your Dark Elves and a High Elf army back in the old Dogs of War. But
we'll see. We'll see how it pans out.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to get my hands on it.
Yeah. Have we beat the crap out of New Dawn?
I guess.
We sure have.
Not like they're releasing tons of stuff.
Yeah. Whatever.
All right, Bill, what have you been doing in the hobby? Because neither of us have done.
Let's take a break.
All right, fine.
So, Chad, you've been painting lately. Tell us what you've been working on.
Well, it was a very long pause in painting.
Yeah.
Like 6 months. I hit that night haunt barrier and I just froze.
Yeah.
I couldn't finish it. It sits there unfinished still. But with Underworlds, it's a lot different.
Yes.
I can sit down and put detail into it and only have a few guys.
Yeah.
I don't have to sit there and go, well, let me detail every single chain rasp that I can get my hands on.
Yeah, right. 80 of them. Yeah.
So, I just pounded out the how do you say it, Ilthari's Guardians.
Yep. And they're beautiful.
That was it. Thank you.
Just they're super gorgeous.
A little bit of contrast, dry brush it. That's it.
Nice.
It's ready to go.
Sweet.
So, I didn't spray it, put any finish on it because I'll get sick of the color and strip it down and paint it something else. Assuming I ever use it again. Play a couple games with it and go, Mollog, let's try you, buddy. So,
yeah, it'll happen. Mm-hmm. Trust me.
All right.
So, I finished up A Night of Shrouds.
Yeah.
That I've been trying to get done for, a couple of weeks. So I finally finished him up yesterday. I still got to do a little bit more work on his base. It's just a mud base right now. So I got to put a few little flowers down and a few little whatchamacallits here and there. Make him look cool, but he's basically done.
I love that purple.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that purple. I was just like, oh my God. It clashes... Or it shouldn't clash. It stands out so well against that ethereal green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm loving that effect across the entire army. It's just it makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
So
And it jumps out.
yeah. That's I still love your chain rasps that you did, the red ones. Mm-hmm. Those are just so gorgeous. God.
Oh, lesson learned there. I hate painting red.
Oh,
Yeah. 20 chain rasps into it, and I cried at one point because I can't stand red.
Well, what about with the new contrast red?
That may be radically different. I use that on my Magor's Fiends, or Magor's...
yeah, Magor's Fiends.
Magor's Fiends, yeah. And it's beautiful.
Okay.
Just one coat,
Yeah.
done. So I may revisit chain rasps. We'll see.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. So I also put the finishing touches on Epidemius. Gave him a little pool of Nurgle's Rot. Did some contrast highlighting on the Nurglings, which didn't quite come out the way I envisioned. But it doesn't look bad. It looks okay. Right. It carries across the theme I wanted with him. So he's in the army. He has a happy place now.
Yeah.
So
he definitely, the 3 feet away standard or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he looks fantastic.
Yep.
Definitely is. And he's going to stand, he blends in with the army, but he also stands out enough, like a character should.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that's kind of where I got kind of annoyed with my Great Unclean ones because I realized I made them too much the same. So they don't differentiate from each other.
I thought you used slightly different greens on all
I
of them.
did, but not enough that they stand out from each other.
Well,
so
what would you do differently?
I think I would actually have like Rodigus be the darkest of the trio, like the oldest maybe.
Okay.
And have him, because of the darkness of the green that's going to be on him, I'd have his pustules and buboes and all that stuff be really stark contrast, really bright pinks and what have you. And then have the other two dull down, step down from what he looked like, but in more major steps than I did. Because right now, really, they're almost interchangeable. I can put the arm from one on the other, and it doesn't look that far off. Okay. So, because I magnetized all those arms and everything, and really, you wouldn't be able to tell. So, I didn't hit enough contrast on the 3 of them, if you don't mind my saying.
Fair enough.
And then I built a Bane Blade.
Yeah, you did. So silly.
Fantastic looking.
It was just silly.
I have been wanting to build armor for a long time, and I thought the Estrella Super Heavy Tank would sort of scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And I realized that, no, it was armor. It was tank I wanted to build.
Well, why didn't you build the Primaris tank to actually go with your Blood Angels, which is what you're going to paint, Blood Angels.
Yeah.
Right? Blood Angels, Bill. Not
red Blood Angels, yes.
You're going to paint red on your Blood
Super
Angels.
Red Blood Angels.
Not green, not black.
But the salamanders are so
red
cool.
Blood
Not
Angels.
Grass Angels.
Just get it done.
All right.
Ay.
I don't know what got into me. Probably because I was playing an Inquisitor Martyr scenario, and I was driving a Baneblade around. That was probably what did it, what pushed me over the top. And that scenario was a lot of fun because you're just driving around the map in a Baneblade.
Oh, wow.
And just blasting the living smithereens out of anything that comes across. It's really it shouldn't even be its own scenario. It's more like an interactive cutscene. There's nothing that challenges you. Nothing.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, your hit points will go down, and then you just hit the repair button, and they go right back up. And it's like, okay, I need
to get to that point in the game.
Yeah, it's fun. That game is over the top fun. I cannot recommend highly enough the Inquisitor Martyr 2.0 version.
Yeah,
just,
I wonder when they're going to put that on console.
I hope soon because it's a complete game changer. Well, like I said, I struggled to get my assassin up to like level 30. Now, I don't play, every day, couple hours, but I was struggling to get up there. I now have that same assassin. She's level 60. And I started a Crusader a couple of weeks ago, and he's 52.
Good Lord.
Yeah. He's a heavy weapon crusader, so he's running around with a bolter and a heavy flamer, or sometimes a grenade launcher and a heavy flamer. He's just like, yeah, come at me, bro. I mean,
yeah, the 2.0 must not be on console because I played a Crusader. That's what I started with, was a Crusader, and I would just die.
From what I understand, the melee Crusaders are really at a disadvantage.
Well, I was playing the heavy weapons.
The heavy weapon guy? Oh, yeah.
And there's, like, the very first serious encounter you come up against is, like, a Psyker, and he's just surrounded by dozens of guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the 5th or 6th mission in the very beginning. And when I was playing the Heavy Weapons Crusader, I just died and died and died. And so I switched over to a Psyker, and it was completely different.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a walk in the park, but I was able to actually put up a fight and come through the other side of that.
You know, that's the other thing about that game that gets me is each one of the character classes, they play like they are described.
Yeah.
They're completely different. The assassin is not the same as the other two assassin types. You know, you can go for the stealth assassin, you can go for the long shot assassins, and they play completely differently.
Oh, well, that's one thing I noticed too is like I played the Heavy Weapons Crusader, who's supposed to be shooty, and then all that would ever drop is like melee weapons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then the armor that so it's melee weapons for the one class, and then the armor that teleports you around for the other one. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't get any of the stuff for the class that I'm playing. Whatever.
It's crazy. I don't know how it works, but if I'm playing my assassin, the stuff that drops is for my crusader.
Yeah.
If I'm playing the crusader, I get all the assassin weapons, and of course we're not the same level, so they're useless. It just kills me. But I've got like 2 million credits, so because I sell everything. So anyway, we have diverged again. So
you built the Baneblade.
Yeah, I built the Baneblade. Now I got to finish the paint job on it.
How are you going to paint it?
I'm going to give it the green camouflage stripes, and then
so like a Acadian style.
Yeah, it's going to be very Acadian, and one of the reasons why I wanted to build it is so that I can freehand on the side. Planet broke before the guard did because it's got the Cadia decal, so that's obviously going to go on there. So I'm going to put the decal on there, and I'm just going to put broke before the guard did, you know, in freehand, like somebody
painted, one of the guardsmen did, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to name the tank or anything. I might name it, you know, Harvey or something. I don't know.
Well, it's only a Baneblade.
Yeah.
So why would it have a name?
There's a ton of them.
Sure. Oh, boy.
All right. So I wanted to hit something in the battle part. ATC championships were today, and I don't have the results. Have you seen the results yet?
No, I've just been in some chats that people have talked about their personal results from games and stuff like that, which is always a little, I don't want to say misleading. You have to take into account that it's team games.
Right.
So they're still one-on-one games.
Right.
But the matching, the matchups are determined differently than just strength of schedule standard tournaments. So, sometimes, you know, like a really hot army might only go 2-2.
Yeah.
And that's because just they got matched up.
He took the terrible matchups or what have you. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how, you know, that stuff works at that level where, you know, one guy might volunteer to take the fall for the team and take on the one guy that would give everybody else problems.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're going to take the loss in that one, and we'll just have to try to go for max point wins in the other games. So there's a whole game within a game. You know?
Yeah, that's what I love about team tournaments.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic.
It's very nice.
So next year, ATC, Rolling Bad, team?
Put a team together?
You want to go?
I can suck as good as anybody else. Yeah. Wait a minute. That came out wrong.
Bill went 4-0 and didn't roll a single die. But his knees aren't what they used to be. So I think it'd be a lot of fun.
It would be. I'd love to do it.
Where is it exactly?
This one was in, I think they announced the next one's going to be in like Chattanooga. Don't quote me on this. I think I saw the blurb for ATC 2020 is actually going to be Chattanooga, Tennessee. They're changing venues. So
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
In July.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful.
What could possibly go wrong with being in the South in the middle of the summer?
Yeah,
because it's been 100 degrees pretty much every day here, but at least it's dry heat.
Yeah.
And for people who are like, "Oh yeah, dry heat," no, that
you don't
that shit
know.
is real
Yeah.
compared to humidity.
Compared to 96 and 98% humidity. Yeah. It's
I'll take this dry heat all day long.
Yeah.
I don't know though. That'd be
fun.
That's kind of like a Warhammer bucket list thing.
Yeah.
Right? Going to the ATC.
Yeah. We could get raffle stomped by all the other good players. Have a good time.
That'd be fun.
Yep. All right, let's do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who are they, 4-man teams? I think they're 4-man
5.
teams.
I think isn't it 5?
Well, I don't know.
I'll have to ask Paul.
Okay.
He knows. Yeah, I mean, he's there.
Right.
So he would know.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, it'd be great fun. But also, the Northern Invasion happened this weekend as well, and some interesting results from that. I'm just going to list off the top 10, and then we can discuss.
Okay.
So, top 10, who knew? Heed Knights of Slaanesh. Then number 2, Devoted of Sigmar. Number 3, Khorne. 4, Flesh Eater. 5, Sylvaneth. And then in 6, Heed Knights. 7 and 8 were Skaven and Skaven. 9 was Stormcast. 10 was Nighthaunt.
Okay.
So we have 2 Heed Knights in the top 10, 2 Skaven in the top 10, but at the bottom. But Devoted to Sigmar, number 2?
Yeah. I would love to see what that list is. But I think, honestly, what stands out more to me is Nighthaunt at 10th.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
So I'm assuming this used the new General's Handbook points?
I believe they did, yes.
But the old Sylvaneth book, I'm assuming.
Had to be the old Sylvaneth book because nobody has legal access to the new one.
So Sylvaneth with the old book at 5th place.
That's some damn good play.
Because the points didn't change.
In the General's Handbook?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They did, but it does mark them as chosen because it's the points out of the new book that's not out. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's a little confusing. So I'm assuming then that they use the air quotes new points.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Okay.
But if not, that's even more kudos.
Right.
Because that's amazing.
They're definitely swinging on the back foot there. Mm-hmm. No Daughters of Cain.
None. Nowhere to be seen.
Interesting.
And a Khorne list in 3rd.
But Khorne's real strong.
Yeah, they are. But nowhere else.
Well, I mean,
I expected to see Flesh Eater courts in the top 5, and they're there. I honestly expected to see Skaven higher than they are, but they did take 7th and 8th. Seeing Stormcast in the top 10 is kind of cool because they really are kind of on the back foot a little.
Yeah.
But I think this represents some of the new points and how there's actually some interesting changes coming.
Yeah, and I have seen a lot of people kind of upset that it seemed like Slaanesh just did not get affected.
No.
Really in any way.
Not
by the
terribly.
point changes. So they're still going to be just dominating.
They're going to be top for a while unless there's an interim, change. If it gets too bad.
Or other books will come out that, that's another thing that can also change the meta is instead of trying to change the points of what's existing already, is another book or two coming out could just kind of counteract them pretty significantly. So,
and that's all we've ever asked for is, not every army has to be able to beat every army, but there should be something that counters everything that's generally available.
I think when you're putting together a list, there should always be that bugbear that is in the back of your mind of like, well, if I come across this, it's going to rock my world if I try to min-max too much in this direction so that I can dominate these other armies.
Right.
And it's a gamble that you have to take. Right.
And that's what makes the top tier tournament players, that's where they shine, is their ability to react to all that stuff.
Right. Plus, it also shows that you have to have a little bit of luck.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of skill involved in everything
You
too,
betcha.
but there's some luck involved in the matchups and missions too, because you might get a really bad matchup against an army that's going to stomp you, but the mission you drew is just the right one that you can get ahead on points early or whatever and just stay on top. And even though you get tabled, you still played the mission right. You know, or it could be you get paired up against an army that you have no problem taking off the table, but it's just a mission that is really difficult. You know, you could be playing
It
like
sits in their ballpark. And,
you could be playing Deepkin against an army that has no prayer against Deepkin, but it's like 3 places of power.
Yeah.
And they focused on your characters real quick.
Yeah.
And you can table them, but they're like 1 point ahead of you no matter what.
Yeah,
You
and
can't
they
score
stay
anymore.
that way,
All of a sudden you've lost. So, you know. But I honestly, this top 10, I kind of like, you know. Yeah, you see Slaanesh and Skaven in there multiple times, but there's some.
But that's not, to me, that's a really interesting cross section.
Yeah.
And it shows that there's a lot of wiggle room out there. There's not one list that's just, except for potentially the Hedonites. There's not one thing that's just ripping through and saying, nope, I got this.
Yeah.
So I think there might be an issue with Slaanesh. I don't want to call it because, you know, like I said before, when the big names tell me there's a problem, I'll believe there's a problem.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm real interested in seeing what the ATC results are to compare against something like this and see how everything fared across the board. So, because this is going to be, you know, these are the first big events after the point drops.
Well, I think the next one is Midwest Meltdown.
And Summertime Slaughter next week or 2 weekends from now, and Midwest Meltdown. Yeah.
And then
I'm sure there's
Nova's not that far off either. So
we're 9 weeks or something.
Yeah.
And then, and there's European stuff going, or, you know, England tournaments going on all over the place. We should see some results from. So be interesting to see.
Good times.
Oh, yeah. So now we were going to talk about the much maligned and talked about fact drop for the General's Handbook and the hue and cry and outcry and upsettedness that four of the armies in the General's Handbook got a major revamp to their points in this backdrop. Or, something like that. Things have changed pretty completely for Blades of Corn, Skaven, Flesh Eater Courts, and Gloomspite Gits. Now, they came out and said pretty much that this was how they were going to approach this. They were going to make these kind of corrections along the way, but I guess a lot of people were a little upset about it.
Okay.
Having these errata things coming out so hot on the heels. And I mean, one of the things that GW said was the lead time to get the General's Handbook printed meant that they couldn't react to the things that they saw right away. So naturally, this is what we use errata for. This is what we use this for. And I kind of was a little confused about all the outcry. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, because they said that the General's Handbook is basically written off of evidence that's 6 months old.
Right.
So anything that's changed in the last 6 months, the handbook isn't really going to be able to address. So it's not going to be able to address Hedonites or Flesh Eater Court Skaven.
You know, the Gristlegore, the Skaven.
Stuff like that.
You know.
So, and even then, to try to address some of that stuff, I mean, it's only been out for so long. And some of it might need to be reined in, but you also want to be careful because as a company, you know what the next releases are.
Right.
And you can kind of anticipate, well, when this book drops, it's going to potentially affect the meta in a certain way that we don't really need to fix this perceived issue. But the public doesn't know that, so they're going to be screaming, fix this.
Right.
You know, so I don't know. Because Slaanesh is a month and a half old.
Yeah.
Flesh Eater Court and Skaven are like 2 months old. That really isn't that long to be out there in the meta.
And General's Handbook was well put to bed by when those things dropped.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, if you wanted to fix those armies, it's like, well, do we really have enough evidence? Is it that these armies are rising to the top because somebody found one particularly nasty thing and is putting it out there faster than people can kind of adjust to it with the armies they have?
Mm-hmm.
And that if you go another 3 or 4 months, people are going to find ways to counteract that with their existing armies?
Yeah.
Or is it really one of those things that, like, no, nobody can stop this?
Yeah.
This really is just a stupid loophole that people are going to keep exploiting. And, we do need to step in and fix it. I don't know how much time you really need to flag that kind of stuff.
I don't know. I honestly, what do you think?
I think that you have something like the General's Handbook. It's a once-a-year thing. You're not going to know all the different nuances, all the loopholes. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So, I'm going to put it out. We have X number of playtesters that are trying to figure out every loophole they can.
Yeah.
But it's the same people that are doing this as their job. Day in, day out, you're going to miss something. You're playing, okay, we've played 5 games today. I'm beat.
Yeah.
My day's done. Guess what I'm doing tomorrow? I'm playing 5 more.
And did you take really good notes on game 1?
Yeah. Or you at game 4, it's now 4:30 in the afternoon. I've been here since, 7 a.m. playing. I'm beat.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm going to miss some things. That's going to happen.
Well, and the thing is that's assuming they had full-time playtesters that are paid to do that. And I don't think they do.
I
Most
think
of the
they have
playtesters
some, but
are guys that just squeeze it in their free time.
Mm-hmm.
And then just send information back.
I mean, there's a lot of, people know a lot of the names of the playtesters, We know who some of them are, and they're real well-respected people, but they also have lives, and some of them have tournaments that they're prepping, that they're putting on.
Yeah, either playing in or running.
Yeah. So, and
that's why they're playtesters.
Yeah.
Is because they are so in sync with the community as a large.
Yep.
But again, they only have a finite amount of time to try to squeeze these games in. And when you release this stuff into the wild, the number of games that are going to be played with those armies within the first week is far greater than what you could have played in 3 months with full-time playtesters. So,
and see, I think that's exactly why they made the points.
Like in a separate book?
In a separate book. Is for this exact reason, because they know, hey, you know what, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be issuing 4 new pages for that book.
Right.
That change the pages that are in there. And, they flat out said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to review different armies and put them out as errata changes to that points book. And, it gives us an avenue, and it doesn't invalidate the General's Handbook. Because a lot of people think that, well, Handbook 2019 is out, so all the stuff in 2018 is junk now. We can't use it. And their whole point is, no, you can use everything in that book except the points at the back. Mm-hmm. And, if we did realm rules or if we did these rules, we updated them. So that's, I think this is the beauty of what they're doing. Putting it out in a separate book means all I have to do is print that little booklet, and I've updated the whole game. So, I for one, I can't understand the upsettedness that some people had for this. I think it's great. I think it's, this is a normal reaction and a incredibly, remember when it would be years before we would see changes to a book's points.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
and they wouldn't even change the stuff. You just had to wait until they redid your book. It's not like they could come out 6 months later and say, oh, whoops, that was a little overcosted or whatever, or grossly undercosted in the case of like the Demons book for 7th and 8th edition that just made the game almost unenjoyable, honestly. And then they didn't fix it. You just had to sit around and wait.
Right.
Or just buy into that and play that army. So the fact that we have a living rule book now, sorry that it doesn't live at the pace that you think it should, maybe, but
it's a hell of a lot better than it used to be.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And can you imagine what the Matt Ward era would have been like if they had this back then? Where, okay, Matt, write up the craziest shit you want. Just go ahead. Indulge yourself. We'll take care of fixing it when you're done. And I'm not trying to dog Matt Ward, but
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
That dude
some
swung
of
for the
that stuff-
fences every time.
Every
He either
time.
struck out or cranked home runs.
Yeah, it was like, woohoo, greatest book ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is crap. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, but if this was the system back then, he'd probably be down in history as the greatest GW writer ever.
Maybe.
know?
You know, I don't know. I just a lot of people like to rag on them that they don't know what they're doing, and I think you have to keep in mind that there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that they have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
That they can't tell you about.
Yeah.
That they know will potentially fix issues that, you know, they're not going to, I don't know.
I think one of the other things that people tend to forget is you have a handful of guys that are doing these erratas and these FAQs, then they release it to the general public.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of different minds and different ways of playing.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
These guys, it's one person with their way of playing in a team of 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
They can't think of every possible scenario. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But putting out into the world now, you have a whole new area of playtesters that are going to complain horribly over it. But now you can see, I never thought of that. I didn't see that loophole. I didn't see that maneuver or whatever it is.
And, you know, even people that blame the playtesters, you know, well, they had this. Why didn't they catch all this stuff? Well, again, there's a handful of them playing a handful of games. And then, yeah, you release it out into the wild and, you know, it goes nuts. I mean, we looked at it with Zinch. Zinch was obviously not playtested. The first edition was not playtested. It couldn't have been. No one would have missed that obvious, wow, these things are good. So, yeah, but those days are gone. We're not there anymore. And
also, I think another thing is like, well, yeah, maybe the playtesters did come across that. And maybe they just didn't think it was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because they thought about a different way of countering it that you're not thinking of. You know, and maybe some people probably be like, well, what if the playtesters had to write out their thoughts behind some of the decisions they came up with and try to explain why it is the way it is. And the thing is, well, they just put that out and you disagree with that too.
That's right. Yeah.
You know,
it doesn't matter what they say. Someone's going to disagree with it.
Yeah. And I think a great, just in a nutshell example of how just opinionated all this is like when I was listening to the Honest War Gamers faction reactions, and he'd be interviewing somebody and they'd come across a unit that had a point adjustment. And the guy he's interviewing is like, yeah, it should have gone down 20 points. And Rob would be like, oh, really? Because I thought it should have gone up 20 points.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, well, who's right and who's wrong?
That's right.
You know, because it's all subjective, right? It's not like we have this perfect mathematical formula to figure all this stuff out, because it's just not the way it works.
Yeah, if it was, that would be easy.
Right.
You know, everybody could be designing games if it was just, oh, plug your unit into this formula and don't worry about any interactions because we don't allow them.
Yeah.
No, I'd much rather have the game we have now where there are interactions and there are synergies that you can develop and figure out and play with. And, you know, I personally find it a lot of fun to watch the Jack Armstrongs, the Matt Pashbys, the Bill Souzas figure these things out and use them effectively and, you know, unlock something. It's always fun, you know, and Rob does a great job of talking about stuff like that and showing people how to think that way.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not wired to do it because it can be obvious as a heart attack to everybody in the room. And I'm just going, huh? They can do that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard some of the stuff that gets explained in the chats, and I'm just scratching my head like, I never
would have put it together.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I guess, yeah, that's an issue. All right.
I saw a Seraphon list the other day that it was the first time I was going to make a comment about a list. And I was going to say, well, that's never going to work. And then luckily, you know, about half a dozen people jumped in there and were like, oh, that's great, mate. That'll work really, really well. Thanks. You know, that's going to be perfect. And I'm like, yep. Okay. You don't know anything. Shut up.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And, you know, one of the great things about the Seraphon chat, the WhatsApp group, is these guys will tailor lists for certain opponents and certain things. and to hear all the different ideas about how to get the most out of this and most out of that. It's enlightening to listen to people that actually do this stuff and think it through and figure out, here's where the synergy lies. This is what you have to expose. This is how you have to play it. It's amazing. It's so much fun. God, I love it.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Is there anything else we want to add about the
update, the FAQ for the General's Handbook? No, I don't think we have to. I don't think we have to beat that dead horse. I mean, I think it was a good FAQ. They addressed the terrain rules. They cleaned that stuff up just like they said they were going to. It's not a big deal. Fixed a few other things. So now everybody can play with their toys and have fun. And I think we're in a happy and good place right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Get it right on the head. I mean, it's ultimately you're playing a game with little plastic men that you're pushing across the table.
Yeah.
Relax.
And
It's just a game, folks.
Speaking of pushing plastic men around a table, so Chad.
Yes.
You've given up Age of Sigmar pretty much.
Not out of a dislike.
No.
Or anything like that. It's strictly time constraints.
It's a time. Yeah.
I
But
just don't have that time.
On the flip side, you have wholeheartedly embraced
Underworlds. I
underwear?
No, I don't wear underwear.
Oh, Underworlds.
No. So I play Commando and I play Underworlds. Yeah. No, when it first came out, I bought the box. I was like, okay, it could be kind of cool. I like, the idea of the smaller groups. It didn't catch me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, it's Magic the Gathering with miniatures. Great.
Okay.
I quit that when I was in 10th grade. And then I just sat around for a time, tried to do AOS, didn't have the time for it, and then actually went to the Rio Rancho Warhammer store and just started talking to the guys. And they were like, yeah, it does this, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. Okay, I'll give it another shot. So came over to Bill's the one night, played, and boom, that was it.
Yeah.
Just
hooked.
Yeah,
Yep.
Just completely hooked on it. And I was like, I can put these miniatures together, I can paint them, and I can play within a handful of hours.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and here's the cards. I can build my deck, and that's one of the main things I love now, is what you're playing, what your opponent has. There's no surprises coming at you. It's all going to be a matter of luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah, and I mean, in the first round of a 3 game, you may be surprised by a couple of the cards they pull out, but by the time you're in the second game, you know what they have in their deck, and you're ready for it. I think that's the great equalizer in this game, is we're not talking about 80-card decks, where, you're always going to be facing something. And, of course, the limitation of the one card.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have multiple earthquakes. So you're not ever going to get just consistently owned by one combo, which kind of, as much as I love Champions, it's gotten to the point to where there are certain decks now, and that's it. That's what you play, and that's what you have to try to beat. But it's getting better. I mean, they're figuring it out. They're tweaking it. But I agree. Underworlds, to me, it's the best of both worlds. It's a board game, so there's enough tactics with the miniatures that you can't can't not account for that portion. Mm-hmm. There's deck building, so you can kind of make it your play style. I think it kicks.
Yeah, and it's a quick game. I don't have time to put aside 3 or 4 hours for a massive army rushing across the board. And at the same time, I don't want to look over and go, look at all those Skyfires. That's going to be fun. Oh, you know what? I don't even need to move. Just I'll leave my stuff in the box. We'll shake hands and go about our day. No, with this, it's okay. There's Mollog. I know it's tough. But if they get the wrong cards drawn, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's for me, that's the beauty of it. And like I said, build, paint, play in a couple hours. You're done.
Yep.
You're ready to go.
Now, I guess we kind of talked about Warcry quite a bit, but that would kind of potentially be the next step up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to think the Warcry would be like level 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're getting into miniature gaming, Underworlds, Warcry, and then you would continue with, what are the new 1,000 role points called?
Meeting engagements, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be the best way to build.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still looking for that game of Underworlds that hooks me. I've yet to actually ever play a game of it. So
we have to. I have your Caradron Overlords here.
No.
So.
One of these days,
yes,
I'll clear the old calendar and we'll get that done. See if
it
hooks me the way that it got Chad.
Hopefully.
And the fun thing is, if you don't like them, then you go spend an additional $30, buy a whole new warband, with new cards.
Play completely differently.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
You think they'll do something like Underworlds for 40K?
You know, I've kind of wondered why they haven't done something like that. And I wonder if the thought is it might interfere with Blackstone Fortress being sort of a board miniature game. You know, I know they're hyper aware of competing with themselves, and they don't like to do that, you know, because it's dumb. You look at, you know, the Shadow War Armageddon debacle.
Yeah.
You know, here's a game that existed for all of 6 months and then was just completely wiped off the map.
Yeah.
So you can't even find iconography for it on their website anymore. It's like they want that to just go away. So, and, but I think like an Underworld style game might actually run smack into, but to me, if you take the best parts of Space Hulk and the best parts of Blackstone and Underworlds and come up with a game like that, you'd probably have a crazy big winner on your hands.
Huh.
So I would love to see, you know, I don't know, Vigilus Underworlds or something, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Armageddon Underworld. Dun, dun, dun. So
I don't know, yeah.
It would be sort of fun, just pushing around 3 Space Marines or, you know, 8 orcs or some, you know, whatever it is.
Right.
Whatever they would figure out. But I just wonder if internally it might be bad for them.
Yeah.
So
be interesting to know what their answer to that is.
Yeah. Also, I think there might just be a time constraint. There's only so many hours in the day and so many editors, you know, that they can get, and game designers. And one thing that I've been noticing is on all the different streams when they're talking to different people in the company, and they're actually exposing more and more people in the guts of the company to the outside world, but they all talk about the pressure and the constraints and the time that it takes to do all these things. And you know they're running a mile a minute.
Oh, yeah.
They are. Yeah. I guarantee you they're doing their 8 hours every day.
This week's pre-release should be a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like, they're not sitting around doing nothing.
No.
It's easy to feel like this sometimes when you go a week or two with no real pre-orders or whatever. There's a bit of what we consider a lull today would actually be a pretty hot week 5 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
But,
I know.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine they're working their asses off nonstop.
Yeah. And just imagine they've announced season 3 for Underworlds, for Warhammer Underworlds. So you know that stuff is either at the printer or, you know, in production or what have you. It's somewhere, but...
Yeah, you got, season 3 of Underworlds is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Warcry is coming out.
Yep.
Apocalypse just dropped.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, you're going to have your regular 40K releases, your regular Age of Sigmar releases, your regular Middle-earth releases, while a team is also taking care of Blood Bowl, Adeptus Titanicus, Blackstone Fortress. Yeah.
Oh, let's just talk about Sisters of Battle right now.
Oh, and there's the whole Sisters of Battle release that they're working on. I mean, yeah, it's immense, the amount of...
And they just released, a gigantic range of contrast paints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to throw those extra dollars out there. Go, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they haven't done a Underworlds version of 40K. They just don't have the manpower to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it as just a limitation of there's only so many hours in the day. And, each one of the people that talks on the stream or, on the podcast talks about how, we hired 3 new people for this and 4 new people over here. And this guy's new. He's been with the company for this long, but now he's moved up to this studio. And it's just like, oh, man, they are just growing leaps and bounds. Yeah. I think just to try to catch up with where they're at, where they're trying to be.
Yeah. And, there's not another gaming company out there that does what they do.
No, I don't think so.
Nowhere near.
Mm-mm. No. This release schedule dwarfs anybody with the exception of like Asmodee and Fantasy Flight, but those are companies that are geared to throwing a new big game out every month because it's their lifeblood. This is how they survive. So
I don't even know if they would really. I mean, because I do wonder what the cost to put it together a new army is, right? Like, so all the mold makers and everything for a Sisters of Battle army, all the hours spent designing it and printing the books, writing all that. So you got all the model makers, the background writers, the rules writers, the model makers, the people to put the sprues together and ship them. All of that compared to one guy writing a new board game and then them shipping it off.
Yeah, but there's like for Fantasy Flight, they do a hell of a lot of play testing because they don't have a lot of this openness. When they release a board game, that's pretty much it. They'll get like one shot at maybe some errata changes.
Yeah.
But, when they turn out something, Betrayal at House on the Hill or whatever, I'm just throwing it. I don't even know if that's Fantasy Flight.
Yeah, it is.
You get one shot pretty much to make that a great game.
Yeah. And they do make their own role-playing games and card games. That's all in-house, whereas GW licenses the IP for that stuff to someone else. So, I don't know, yeah. I mean, they're comparable.
It's probably different, but then again, I don't believe Fantasy Flight has as many employees either. So
maybe. I have no idea.
It was funny listening to that lady who does the books. She did a great interview on Stormcast or Voxcast, whichever one it was. She talks about how working with all the different teams that she has to work with to pull the books together and little things that you don't think about, like this book has to be translated into English. It has to be in English. Then it has to go to German and French. And then it has to go into Chinese and Japanese,
Polish
and Korean,
Italian,
and Brazilian, and all these other. And so it has to go out to these translators. And of course, some of these have markedly different alphabets. So the spacing of everything has to change.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't even think about little things like that. And you're just like, oh my God, how do they manage that? Well, they have people like her that manage it. But I mean, it's just nuts, the concerns that they have. And, like she says, having the models go to the photographer, first of all, to the painters to be painted properly.
Right.
Then they have to be photographed properly. Then all that stuff has to come in and laid out, and then everybody along the line has to approve these layouts. And then finally a book can get printed. So we wonder why there's a 6-month lead time. I think that's amazing that they can do all that in 6 months.
Yeah. Well, it's not even just, it's longer than that, because I remember, was it like the Canis Rex, or there was some Titan that came out. No, it was the big ones. What are those ones called for the Imperial Knights?
Oh, the Castellan and the Valiant?
Yeah. And when that got shown, the guy who was like Matt Holland, or one of the guys that painted it, was like, oh, yeah, I remember painting that like 18 months ago.
Yeah.
It was so long ago that I forgot that I painted it.
Yeah.
Because I've done so much stuff since then.
In between.
Yeah, and it's like, wow. So there's a significant amount of time between concept and in your hands.
Yeah. It's crazy nuts. More power to them. All right, so we've wailed on. We've talked about Underworlds. We talked about all kinds of stuff. Do we want to close it out?
Yeah, is there anything else you want to add, Chad? to your first podcast debut?
No. You guys had mentioned Inquisitor Martyr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just started playing Chaos Bane.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah?
On the PS4.
How was that?
Do you like Diablo? Then you'll love Chaos Bane.
Really?
Yeah. The only thing that really broke my heart was, as soon as you start, you're only given 4 characters. What was it? It was Empire Fighter,
A
High Elf
Slayer.
Mage. Pardon?
A Slayer.
A Slayer and a Wood Elf.
Yeah.
And they're already characters, are already made. If you want to customize, that's not really going to happen very much.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, with the loot drops, how you guys are picking up other stuff for other, your Crusader thing.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. Whatever comes out is for that character.
Oh, nice.
That's it.
It's tailored.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
it's completely tailored for that guy. So you're like, okay, well, how much variety can there be? And then you think, well, okay, it takes place in the old Warhammer fantasy. So here's all the dwarf, the dwarf strongholds. Here's all the weapons, all the different types of slayers they had.
Nice.
Here's all the different high elf countries, or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
All the different things they could do, Caldor and so on and so forth. So it gives you a lot of variety of the way you actually will play.
Really?
Yeah. And then I guess you can set it up so, okay, well, if I have these pants, shoes, weapon, something, it gives you, it'll start stacking bonuses.
Oh, cool.
But I've not been able to do that yet. Because every time I find something good, I'm like, oh, screw that. I'm putting on this bigger, better weapon.
Yeah.
And it's good because it's not 1 or 2 things you're fighting. Like, oh, as soon as I came downstairs, there's 50 Nurglings attacking me at once. Awesome. My character walks an additional 8 feet. Here comes 40 more guys that I have to just completely cut my way through.
Oh, nice.
And then, you're looking going, there's a plague bearer. He looks lovely. There's this. That looks great. It just, I really enjoy the aesthetic. But my thing is, why aren't they doing Sigmar ones? Why do they keep referring back to the old fantasy?
We've kind of
video
talked
games?
about it a little bit. The thing is, like, to make a AAA title, it takes years and years. Like, anywhere from like 3 to 6 years, depending. And that's when a major studio does it, like Bethesda or
EA
or Activision, something like that. And so and Age of Sigmar is only 4 years old.
Yeah, true.
So I would imagine in the next, like, I hate to say it, but like maybe in the next 3 years, we might see a major Age of Sigmar title.
A Total War Sigmar.
Well, or maybe like a Space Marine style Age of Sigmar game or anything like that. But I think that's what it is. It just takes so long to make. And that's assuming they get a major studio to do it.
Yeah.
And right now they've kind of been throwing their IP at these like tiny-ass little independent studios that put together that are really hit or miss. And mostly anymore it seems like they're misses.
Yeah.
Because they keep going for like these garbage-ass mobile games and stuff like that.
Super pay-to-plays.
Yeah. And it sucks. But every now and then you will get like an Inquisitor Martyr or a Chaos Bane or a the one you just said, the from Take-Two.
Total War.
Yeah, the Total War, stuff like that. Yeah. So, I think it's just going to be a few more years.
I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen a Total War thing because that engine is pretty solid.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to do is add the amenities. And I wonder why. Again, I'm sure it's resources. I'm sure it's how many people they have to devote to another thing in the same IP range.
Yeah.
So, because they're still coming out with expansions
Updates,
to Total War. So there's no.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, Take-Two is constantly cranking out other stuff too.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. So I'm sure it's a resource thing, not we don't care.
Yeah.
But I hope at some point there's going to be a Total War, Realm Gate Wars or something.
Right.
It's a dream I have.
I'm waiting for like a a Witcher or a Skyrim style Age
Yeah.
of Sigmar.
With a Stormcast.
Anyways,
I'm sorry, I had to be the Debbie Downer right there.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I think they will do something.
yeah, it's all coming.
So maybe Fallout 79 will be, in the realms. I don't know. What the hell?
Yeah,
You could put that together in 45 minutes just like you did Fallout 76.
Ooh, yeah. Zing.
It just works.
Yep.
Thanks, Todd.
God,
Okay, I'm
you done there, Bill?
Yeah.
You got that one out?
Yeah, I did.
Worked it out. All right.
okay. So,
Yeah, I think that's. Anything else?
Nope.
anything else you got?
I've got nothing.
Sweet.
Okay.
Well, it's good to have you, Chad.
It's nice
Yeah.
to be here
The world knows you exist.
Yep. We're
Yeah,
not
I'm
making
sorry.
you up.
for the world. I apologize, but
And
Elric and Bill want to share their pain.
That's right.
we'll have you back on whenever
Oh, yeah.
we do.
Well, yeah, this is either the final podcast you'll ever do because of me,
Okay.
or a new era.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Ooh.
it's one of the two. It's,
excellent.
Ooh. So we're going to have BC and AC before Chad and after Chad.
I like it.
All right.
I
like it.
think we may be on something. I don't.
God. Oh, boy.
I love it.
All right. Good night, folks.
Bye. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. Our Patreon page is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, again, all one word. The Twitter account for the show is at rolling_bad, and our individual Twitter accounts are, for me, at Bill Castello, Castello, and for Ryan, he is at RT Gamer. All of our guests on the show will have their contact information in the show notes, and any products that we mention will also be similarly placed in the show notes. The music for the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and used under the Creative Commons license. 1, 2, 3, 4,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I knew you were going to do that because he did that, and it really makes me mad when you talk over me like that.
Let it begin.
We got a blooper in the first 8
so
seconds of the
good.
show.
Thanks
So
for
good.
setting me up on that hour.
Yep.
Highly appreciate it.
Oh, my
We're
God.
not going to acapella this show or what?
Sure. Oh, my God. That was awesome. Taking a break. Hold on.
Oh, Jesus.
Shut up.
Right off the bat. That's.
Because I don't have the info.
Why don't you lay the track before you let the train out of the station there, Bill?
Tracks?
Wow,
I'm sorry you had to see this,
that's
Chad.
really, yeah.
This is the behind the scenes bullshit that I have to put up with.
And I'm
This-
sorry, as executive producer, I didn't know how you guys were running the show, but
God.
now that
It's
I
just
do,
been.
You didn't give us your executive producer thing.
I can always do that again next time. But no,
There's going to be a next time?
this is the last show.
Oh, okay.
I'm on it. This
Yeah.
is the farewell
it's
over. So,
This is-
so
The colostomy bag tour.
Yay! I'd like to pick up where we left off now, if you don't mind.
All right. Take another stab at it, OJ.
Yay! I just didn't want to break up laughing, and you assholes have to do it. Okay, so we're going to call this episode Blooper 2.
Yeah.
And we'll sneak in episode 72 somewhere. Okay,